Good afternoon. This is the news update on Dominion Television, Ibadan. I am Olusegun Fawole. The chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, said the proposed fuel surcharge is intended to generate a dedicated fund for Nigeria's deteriorating roads, not to add extra strain on households. Oyedele acknowledged public worries that recent tax reforms could worsen inflation, but argued that improved road infrastructure is essential to lowering the cost of moving goods and people. However, it has sparked anxiety about potential inflation, with the Trade Union Congress also threatening to call a nationwide strike if the federal government fails to scrap the tax. While he said the removal of fuel subsidies has opened fiscal space, the chairman argued that subsidy revenues alone are insufficient to close Nigeria's infrastructure gap. The high-level consultative meeting between the federal government, executives of Nigerian Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, Dangote Group, and other stakeholders ended in a deadlock. The meeting, which was held at the conference room of the Ministry of Labour, had in attendance the national executives of NUPENG and officials of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, with plans to sign a memorandum of understanding to put an immediate end to the ongoing conflict. Sources at the meeting noted that following the intermediary role played by the Labour Ministry, resolutions of the Memorandum of Understanding were read for all parties to agree upon and sign. However, disagreements with some of the resolutions by officials of Dangote Group led to further talks. The Senate has turned down Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's request to return to legislative duties, insisting that a 6-month suspension is still in force until the Court of Appeal rules on our case. In a letter signed by the acting clerk to the National Assembly, Dr. Yahaya Danzaria, the Senate acknowledged receiving the senator's notice that she planned to resume on September 4, 2025, which she said marked the end of a suspension. However, the Senate pointed out that a suspension started on March 6, 2025, and added that the matter is questionable since it is already before the Court of Appeal. Hundreds of members of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in Oyo State took to the streets to protest against the alleged intimidation of Honorable Ibrahim Shitu, who represents the Shaki West State constituency. Dominion News team earlier reported that the protest was in response to the unlawful approval of the 300 billion naira loan request by the People's Democratic Party (PDP)-led administration in the state. Our correspondent, Grace Aino, has more details.
The protest began at the party's secretariat in Okeado, Ibadan, and concluded at Mokola roundabouts in the Ibadan North local government area. The protesters voiced their concerns over the increasing debt profile of the state and warned the leadership of the State House of Assembly against intimidating its members regarding Honorable Shitu's position on the approved loan. The state chairman of the party, Olaide Abbas, also expressed his disapproval over the rising debt profile associated with the current administration.
What we are doing today is what will reflect that we are with you. I know that is showing the trait of the progressive by being courageous, by adding values of APC to governance in our state. And we must show the people in the house that we are in support of it. Take it from me that the process we are starting today is the process to reclaim Oyo State 2027. I was the chairman when we got it in 2011 back. I was the chairman there, and I know the process of getting it back. what we are doing now is just to start the process by which we get the State House back together from there.
And today we are making a peaceful protest against the indebtedness of attitude of Seyi Makinde in Oyo State being blown out by one of our members of the House of Assembly, because the man said the truth. They are not victimizing me. Come out and defend yourself against what the man has said. Why victimizing him? Why intimidating him? Why running for his life? And we are not going to accept that. And the life of that man, it lies on the government. I believe anything did was done to Shitu was one of all APC members in Oyo State. And we are not going to tolerate that.
The APC stated that it will not allow the People's Democratic Party in Oyo State to compromise the lives of the people of the state through unrestricted access to loans. Aino Grace, Dominion News.
The protest began at the party secretariat in Okeado, Ibadan, and concluded at Mokola Roundabout in the Ibadan North local government area, where the protesters voiced their concerns over the increased debt profile of the state and the intimidation of assembly members. Meanwhile, the state chairman of the party, Olaide Abbas, also expressed his disapproval of the rising debt profile associated with the current administration. Recall that Honorable Shitu criticized the approval of 300 billion naira loan by less than two-thirds of the assembly members, deeming it unconstitutional. The APC stated that it will not allow the PDP to compromise the lives of the people of the state through unrestricted access to loans. Kidley Space, the first all-inclusive indoor playhouse for children in Ibadan, has been launched to provide a safe and stimulating environment for both regular children and those with special needs. Our correspondent, Eniola Salvador, has the report.
In Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, parents, children, and education stakeholders gathered at Kidley Space, a new inclusive playhouse officially opened its doors. The founder, Mrs. Mobolaji Ido, said the center was created to give all children a space to thrive, regardless of their abilities.
We also have the sensory room. It's an inclusive space. I am a mom of an autistic child, and definitely I have to give back to other moms. So here is an inclusive space where we take all kind of children, whether you're the neurotypical or you're neurodivergent children.
The facility includes a sensory room for children who need calm, safe simulation, a STEM and Montessori room to spark curiosity in young learners. The Oyo State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Mrs. Toyin Balogun, praised the project and pledged government support to maintain safety standards.
There are provisions to ensure that the safety and welfare of our children is guaranteed. In addition to that, there is provision, ample provision for children, not just regular children, even children with special needs, to enhance their psychomotor skills, their cognitive skills. There are a lot of activities that are targeted towards enhancing the psychomotor and cognitive skills of both regular children and our children with special needs.
Also, Pastor Mrs. Adiola Eboda of Harvest House Christian Center described the center as a long-awaited solution for parents of neurodivergent children.
I'm an educationist and I work with children, and at times parents bring children that neurodivergent to my organization. And because, we don't have the facility, most of the time I don't have where to refer them to. But to know that this is an all-inclusive facility that allows for children, both children that are on the spectrum and that are not on the spectrum, to come there, it's a big thing.
Kidley Space says its mission goes beyond childcare. It's also to build a community where inclusive is a way of life. Eniola Salvador for Dominion News.
And now to the foreign scene. Ivory Coast presidential race has taken a dramatic turn as two major opposition figures were officially barred from next month's election, according to reports. The Constitutional Council announced that former presidential Laurent Gbagbo and former Credit Suisse CEO Tidjane Thiam are ineligible to run in the October 25th vote. The council cited their removal from the electoral roll as the reason for their exclusion. Despite these disqualifications, both men had formally submitted their candidacies to challenge President Alassane Ouattara, who is seeking a fourth term at the age of 83. And with their exclusion, 5 candidates remain in the race, including former First Lady Simone Ehivet Gbagbo and former ministers Jean-Louis Billon, Ahua Don Melo, and Henriette Lagou. Nepal has lifted a social media ban which sparked protest and led to clashes with police that left at least 19 people dead and injured more than 100 others. Dominion News earlier reported that Nepal's government ordered authorities to block 26 social media platforms for not complying with a deadline to register with Nepal's Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. Following the Nepal government's move to ban the social media platforms, which includes Facebook and YouTube, protests erupted with thousands of young people storming parliament in the capital, Kathmandu, leading to casualties. Meanwhile, several districts are now under a curfew. After just 9 months in office, French Prime Minister François Bayrou is out, as he has been toppled in a confidence vote by lawmakers. The National Assembly voted 364 to 194 to oust the 74-year-old centrist, dealing a major blow to President Emmanuel Macron and plunging France into yet another political crisis. Bayrou had gambled on winning support for his tough budget plans, calling the vote himself in a high-stakes bid to push through deep public spending cuts. However, with no clear successor emerging, France faces the real risk of prolonged legislative deadlock. And now talking sports. Nottingham Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked after 21 months in charge and just 3 games into the season. The position of the Portuguese coach had been uncertain for 2 weeks since he publicly declared his relationship with owner Evangelos Marinakis had deteriorated. From several reports, talks are underway over Nuno's replacement, and former Spurs manager Ange Postecoglou looks very much like a favorite. Meanwhile, in a recent statement, Forest thanked Nuno for his contribution during a very successful era at the City Ground and said that he would always hold a special place in their journey. You can follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. And that ends the news update on Dominion Television. I am Olusegun Fawale. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.